Hello, welcome to the podcast, Human Rights in America, a Revolutionary Mindset. I am your host, Sue Young. Today, I am interviewing my Aunt Christy. Would you introduce yourself to America? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, America. My name is Christy Draper, and I am Sue's aunt, and I'm excited to be here to talk about human rights.
For my first interview, I did not want to speak to a subject expert. I just wanted to hear from a normal American. So I picked a family member. It's no disrespect that I call her Christy because we grew up together. She's more like a sister to me. Tell the listeners, what is your background?
My professional background is that I am a certified teacher in grades elementary, K through 5, and I'm certified as an ESOL teacher. And ESOL is English for Students of Other Languages.
Awesome. So my first question is this. What, if anything, have you learned from listening to the podcast?
On a personal level, I listen to your podcast because I'm interested in any other family member that's going into radio. And that would be you, human rights. That's something I never even thought about before. I've learned a lot about it. I learned the patience of listening. It's not visual, it's audio. So it's just very interesting.
So my next question then would be, is the podcast long enough or too long for you to listen to?
50 minutes is perfect. That's just me. I know my attention span.
That's very helpful, Christy, and very honest. And I expect, depending on the generations, not everybody listens to a podcast. Some people listen to one all the time. Sometimes they listen in the gym while they're working out. Some people on their commute to work. But you're retired, right?
Oh, yes. Just recently retired after 20 years. I say 20. 10 of those years was as a substitute teacher in K through 12. And the last 10 were in elementary, K through 5.
Since this is about human rights, I guess I want to get back to human rights. In order to prep for this interview, I sent you the list of the 30 human rights that are listed in the 1948 Declaration. What human right, if any, would you like to see accomplished in your lifetime?
I looked at the list and it was interesting because there were so many. I never even think about human rights. When you asked me that, it was like, oh, I have the right to remain silent. She said, no, that's civil right. Who knew? But number 26, and that's the human rights of education. Because everybody has the right to an education.
As a student, had you ever learned about human rights in a classroom setting?
Not that I know of. And if I did, it went right over my head and I didn't pay attention, honestly. I can't zero in on one class unless it was in college, maybe. No, can't say I did.
All right. As a teacher today, do you think it would benefit the students to learn early about these human rights as opposed to waiting to listen to a podcast like mine later on in life?
Oh, definitely. I would say you can introduce it to them in elementary at 5th grade in social studies when they may have that opportunity to even introduce that.
Do you remember Schoolhouse Rock?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Which one of those do you remember?
Remember just the bill. We did play that for them in the 3rd grade. And it's the music and the animation that they really pay attention to. It's not so much the message. They don't get that until maybe middle school.
In the 8th grade, we had to stand in the front of the class and recite the preamble to the Constitution. I had to stop myself from singing what I learned at Schoolhouse Rock. I was supposed to just recite and not sing it. But it was applicable because it was the truth and it was right. There should be a push to get that back in their system because kids would benefit.
Related. It can be introduced at a younger age, even kindergarten, because it's the animation and it's the music. And that's what they're drawn to. As they get older, the message becomes more relatable because now they've studied it. Students learn by doing. And if they are able to sing it, dance to it, they will remember it.
I agree. We don't really talk about how we connect to everyone else on the planet. There is a way to develop empathy for people around the globe.
The counselor was out one day. I helped out. She had posters, and every poster was about how you can have empathy. The kids were into it. They really were engaged. They paid attention. They were involved. They learned something from it.
Tell me, Christy, someone was listening to this recording years from now. What would you tell them about human rights?
When it's on a podcast, TV, radio, listen to it because there might be something you learn. See if there's one or two things that might help you now, or maybe you're not interested. Come back to it maybe a year or two later and see, did I learn anything from that? Does that pertain to me? Can I use that going forward?
Is there any show that you've listened to or any quote or any information given on the podcast?
Oh, yeah. You quoted my answer. Once we know better, we do better. I always use that in my everyday life. If something goes wrong and I didn't do it well, or somebody else didn't do it well, it's a learning thing. With me, it's always about learning. Once you know better, you do better. If you know and decide not to do better, that means you don't want to learn. You want to stay stuck.
That, Christy, is exactly the message for America. That the quote is, do the best you can until you know better. And then when you know better, do better. Human rights apply to us citizens and not just for people in other countries. We have, like you said, a right to education. It's not just a benefit. It's not just a societal gift. It's a right that we have as human beings on this planet to be educated and to be able to go to a school. We automatically should have it because we're human.
Remember that flyer I sent you? I just happened to be in the office at school and I looked down and it said human rights.
Oh, yeah.
You have a right to food. So I took a picture. We didn't know that's a right, that we have a right to have food. That was interesting.
That poster talks about food is a human right and is an immense, immediate, and tangible way to help someone. People think of it as a gift, but Nelson Mandela talked about poverty in terms of poverty. He said to reduce poverty, to feed the masses, it's not a gift. It's a human right. It's not charity. It is absolutely the right of every human. And that scarcity and lack of food supplies is man-made. I was surprised to see that on a poster. Was that the first time kids read that food is human right?
No, I think that they didn't get that was just a pamphlet on the desk for the parents. We used to pay for lunch,
Right.
or reduce lunch. Now it's pretty much free in schools.
Yeah.
When our kids are off for Labor Day, they get a meal to take home for the weekend
Right.
and for that Monday.
And
So, yeah.
this is America. That is definitely progress. We know that you're a retired teacher. You're not about human rights. Can you tell me, what are you doing in your new endeavors?
I started another business, which is photo booth business. I'm really excited about that because people love pictures. And I always wanted to do this. I'm like, you know what? I can do that. But because I was working all these years, I didn't pursue it, but it was always in the back of my mind.
So do you have a name?
Cedre Photo Booth Rentals.
Great.
Cedre stands for Christy Draper.
So this concludes my very first interview. It's interesting because I learned that for some people, an audio podcast may not get into their system because it's not like TV, it's not visual. But for now, I want mine to be audio because I want you to get the information rather than be preoccupied with what I have on or what I look like. I will definitely be interviewing more people. If you would like me to consider your statements or comments for on air application, please drop me an email and I'll be in touch. Until next time, be revolutionary, be human.